So the fans are back at Daly's Place. Hi Tiffany. Hi YouTube legend Mega Ran. Hi Amy and Andy. Hi Ames and Val Capone. Oh, hello William R. Washington. Hello. Just ignore that one. That was left on my camera roll from something else. Did the fans get their cats proverbially excited for the return of crowds at pay-per-view for the All Elite lads? Let's find out together. This is AEW Double or Nothing 2021 Graded. On the buy-in, the NWA Women's World Championship is defended. Serena Deeb puts it on the line against Riho. A slap to the face of Riho confirms that Deeb is now a baddie, and what a baddie she makes. Really hard strikes on the challenger for the title here. Hair-pulling, very naughty use of the 5 count by the referee, shenanigans, and a cocky swagger. Deeb really fits into this heel mold very, very nicely. Riho has a flurry that gets halted when she ends up crashing onto the apron, missing a double foot stomp. That leg becomes a target for Deeb, who wears it down with dragon screws and the like for the majority of this match. Riho starts to get back into this. She goes for a Somato, but then ends up getting caught by Deeb in a half crab. Riho makes the ropes, but it's just not enough to save her on this night. Despite the fact that she gets out of it, she gets worn down once again. We see Deeb driving that knee into the canvas, rearing back on that half crab for the tap out win. Deeb retains her title and becomes a proper heel in the process. B+ here, really strong match for the buy-in, and I really like Serena Deeb as a baddie. It certainly makes NWA Power quite intriguing going forward. The first match on the pay-per-view proper is Brian Cage versus Hangman Page. And Page was doing all right till he got powerbombed into the steel post. Cowboy Shizzle got back into it with a Samoan drop being countered into a crucifix and a diving moonsault to the outside of the ring as well. They look gorgeous. The crowd are well into this as well. Big reaction when Page manages to land a Frankensteiner onto Cage. A bigger reaction from Cage, who manages to deadlift suplex Page onto the ramp from inside the ring. Even bigger reaction when Cage hits an avalanche F5 on Hangman Page. Page getting the shoulder up on a top rope F5. Cage gets hoisted by his own patella. He goes for the buckshot lariat, ends up stumbling as he lands. This gives Page enough time to hit an F5 of his own. Only gets a 2 count on that though. Ricky Starks and Hook come out to help out. They chuck the FTW belt to Brian Cage, saying use it, and he's like no, throws it back, and this leads to the inevitable, with Cage eating a buckshot lariat from Page for the 1, 2, 3. Afterwards, we see Ricky Starks, Hook, and Cage having a little bit of a disagreement in the ring before the Machine takes a walk off into the night. This was an A- as an opening match, just exactly what an opening match needs to be. Hard-hitting, fast-paced, and a big babyface win as well. Tiny complaint. An avalanche F5, a mid-match move that only gets a 2 count. That's a match finisher, surely. That's my one complaint. Other than that, I flipping enjoyed the opening match. What a way to start the show. From there, the World Tag Team titles are on the line. Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston coming out, swinging those shoes of the Young Bucks like they've won a trout in a fishing competition. They are challenging the Bucks for the World Tag Team titles. Mox and Kingston jump the Bucks as they're doing their pre-match taunt. Their streamers still mid-air as this is going on. A wild brawl around ringside ensues. Cutler gets wiped out in the process as well with the violent crown. The Bucks then cheap shot the lads as they're starting to get some momentum in the ring. Match gets going from there. We see textbook tag team techers and some rather bombastic hot dogging and or grandstanding from Matt and Nick Jackson through this. They're wearing down Eddie Kingston for ages. Mox gets the white hot tag eventually, and he goes wild in there. The Good Brothers come out to try and tip the balance in the favour of the Bucks. Kingston spots them coming, as does Frankie Kazarian, who bursts out of nowhere to help send them packing. Good job, Kazarian. While all this shenanigan is going on, we see Moxley get sprayed with the aerosol can right in the eyes, and then bonk, Matt throws it off his head as well. Cuts him open. Only gets a 2 count from that, though. Soon after this, when the dust has started to settle, we see Mox get done in with a Meltzer driver on the ramp. Moxley staggers around the ringside area, just manages to get back into the ring to beat the 10 count, but he just gets beaten from here, gets a long shoe-in from Matt and Nick Jackson. They go for a shield powerbomb, even doing the old ooh-ah a bit, just to annoy Mox. This winds him up. He ends up battering the Bucks, tagging the Mad King, who goes, well, mad. We see the Tuesday device. I'm sure they called it something different on commentary. I'm calling it the Tuesday device, which is Doomsday device with the Buck shoes. Near fall for the challengers from that one. Moxley ends up eating a super kick party, but kicks out at 1 with his eyes bugging out of his head at this point. He and Kingston get shut down with even more super kicks from here, though. Mox then gets 4 consecutive BTE triggers. Matt and Nick Jackson hold him up as they give him 1 after 1 after 1 after 1. He then crumbles to the ground and they pick up the 3. Young Bucks retaining their World Tag titles. This was an A- as well. A high quality tag team match. Like in the first match, we had that Avalanche F5 mid-match. I feel like the Meltzer driver on the apron should have been a match ender. I know, Young Bucks, right? But I still think this was a solid tag match with everybody involved. Really great work from everybody here. I kind of want to see them go again. From here, it is the Casino Battle Royale. It's like a Royal Rumble, but with card sets and a Joker at the end. So, a surprise entrant from somewhere. Christian Cage, Matt Sydal, Powerhouse Hobbs, Dustin Rhodes, and a wisecracking Max Caster start us out. Sydal and Caster are out in the first segment of this when they were eliminated pretty early on. Matt Hardy, Isaiah Cassidy, 10 from the Dark Order, Nick Comoroto, and Serpentico out next. Hardy and Isaiah Cassidy try and jump 10, but he ends up getting one over on them instead. Serpentico's out in quick order as 10, and Comoroto also get taken out as well. We see Nick nail Dustin with the cowbell before leaving, though, setting up a little something between them, because that's what leads to Dustin getting dropped out of this match. Intrigued to see Dustin versus Nick down the road there. The Varsity Blondes, Colt Cabana, Anthony Bowens and Penta are all next. Penta gets some love from the crowd here. Very popular man is Penta, and he's got a hot streak for the next couple of minutes until the final set comes in. Jungle Boy, Mark Quinn, Aaron Solo, Evil Uno and Lee Johnson. Solo and Johnson out almost as quickly as they arrived. Thanks for coming, lads. Soon after that, Evil Uno gets eliminated by Penta. Then Penta gets hoyed out of the ring by Jungle Boy, which is rather brilliant. So Jungle Boy starting off on a nice roll here. Hobbs is back. He has a hot streak, but then gets muscled over the top just about by Christian Cage, still hanging on in this match. The Joker is revealed, and I think it caught us all by surprise. It's Lio Rush, former WWE Cruiserweight Champion. He's been doing the motion capping stuff for 2K22, and now he's all elite, apparently. He has a really good showing taking out Private Party and Matt Hardy for a little while. Isn't able to eliminate anybody, though, because whilst he's trying to get both members of Private Party out, Money Matt steps in, throws him out instead. A short, impactful showing for Lio Rush as the Joker here. Jungle Boy and Christian then end up teaming up to take Private Party out of the ring. Matt's on his own, no mates here. He tries to start a little thing with Christian going, hey, we were friends from the past. Remember all those lovely times we had? Let's take out this young whippersnapper. Christian seems like he's sided with him, then gives him the old, way, only kidding. Out goes Matt Hardy. There he goes. It's Christian and Jungle Boy, your final two. Crowd singing Baltimore the whole way, by the way. They're really getting into this. They end up fighting both on the apron. Jungle Boy gets hurled towards the ring post, and instead of clattering into it and bouncing back, he swings around it like it's a vine. Mwah, it's beautiful. This leads to Christian getting back into the ring, only to get backdropped over the top. Jungle Boy winning the Casino Battle Royale. Crowd absolutely going wild for this. Luchasaurus and Marco Stunt out to celebrate with them as well. Even Christian gets back in, gives him a big old hug. puts him over. Great little moment that. This was a B, this match. Really fun at points. Dipped in places, as most battle royals tend to do, but a really good, feel-good result at the end. The battle between Britain and America up next. Anthony Ogogo versus Cody Rhodes. That we got Army Dogs and thank the veterans before Cody came out in all American attire. They just, this was... Do you know what? This was so thick that you could stick things to the ceiling with it. Like, they laid this on so thick you could use it as glue. Agogo, early on in this match, lands that infamous gut punch, but Cody somehow survives through it. This match, mostly Agogo hitting some really crisp power moves, getting some near falls on that. QT Marshall tries to get involved at one point. Arn Anderson runs him off. Agogo gets bust open at some point randomly. I think swinging some punches. I missed where he got bust open. Please tell me in the comments where he did. Thank you. Cody manages to get a little squeak of some offense in. He lands a Cody cutter. Agogo cracks Cody with a right off the top rope. Hits a lovely frog splash as well for a 2. The end of this comes with Agogo going for the governor's hammer. Cody turns it into a vertebraker and picks up the 3. He heads into the crowd to celebrate with fans as the match comes to an end. Right. We had a load of high hopes going into this one that it was going to be something that was going to be quite memorable. Maybe Agogo battering Cody. We didn't really get that. The crowd weren't in a great place for this. I'm giving it a C. I'm giving this a C. Agogo looked really good in there. I don't want to understate that. But Agogo looked great for somebody that is so new to the business. You know, in the grand scheme of things, he looked solid in there. Cody didn't need to win this, especially in the way that he did. The crowd aren't into Cody. They saw through this big Americana thing they tried to do beforehand. I wasn't a fan of this at all. I really wanted this to be a quick punch and something for Agogo to hang on his hat, but we didn't get that. Cody had to have this big win, and they were adamant that they wanted Cody to be cheered out of the building for being Mr. America and the American dream. It didn't scan. It just didn't scan, lads. This was what I think Cody was hoping would be this big high point of the night in front of crowds. Probably ended up being the low point of the evening, which is a shame for all involved. Beefy boys to pick up the pace. Lance Archer challenges Miro for the TNT title. Lance Archer wastes no time becoming the next wrestler in line to start the match before the bell. This is a recurring theme of this evening because Miro hurt Jake Roberts last night, so there's revenge on his mind. Beefy boys really get into this straight away. Murder Hawk moonsault for a very early near fall once the bell sounds. They take it outside where Miro gets put through a table. Miro gets back into it. He throws Archer into the front row at one point. Miro then slows it all the way down. We have some heavy strikes to Archer. Lance lands a helicoaster to get back into this one. Misses a moonsault though. Miro looks like he's going to crush Archer with something big, but Jake Roberts makes an appearance with the infamous bag. Looks like it contains the snack, but Miro catches him as he's coming in, beats down Jake Roberts, grabs the bag, possibly containing a snack, swings it around his head and throws it up the ramp. That's what Agogo should have done to Cody earlier. I'm just saying. It'd have been an A+ if that had happened. Crowd are just disgusted with Miro for his awful treatment of Schneck. This allows Lance a little chance to get back into this, but despite a near fall off a chokeslam, Miro lands a thrust kick, really hooks in that accolade and gets the tap out win. This was a B+. Big boy slapping meat. Needed this. I think Miro very much needed that big victory under his belt as the champion, finally starting to climb and get those big W's. It was nice to see. The Women's World Championship on the line next. Hikaru Shida defending against Dr. Britt Baker, D.M.D. Big reaction for Britt Baker, unsurprisingly. Shida goes for a Tamashi early on, starts to put the pressure on the challenger. However, Baker manages to counter a leg lariat to take control with some of this, get some techers in there and a curb stomp. She puts the glove on. We're looking for the lockjaw, but Shida's able to avoid an early trip to the dentist, and she starts to rally from here. We see Baker start to fire back after Shida gets nasty, because Shida goes on the offense here, and she gets quite heelish. They tease this a little bit when she was doing a promo earlier on where she was saying, I want to win by any means necessary. There's a bit where she's sort of fish hooking the face of Britt Baker and telling the camera to get right up in the face, right up in the grill of Baker here. A very intense Shida tonight. But Baker manages to fire back with an air raid crash, attempts again for that lockjaw. Shida fights out, takes back control from there. Now there's a bit where either she seems to go for an avalanche Samoan drop, and changes her mind to drop Baker onto the top of the ring post, or she loses her grip and they kind of improvise. It's hard to tell here. It's a little bit confusing. We see a miscue accidentally. We see a miscue from Rebel. She accidentally cracks Baker with the crutch, near fall for the champion. Rebel gets involved again. This time the distraction allows Baker to curb stomp Shida into the title belt and get a near fall. A Tamashi from Shida soon after gets a 2.99 recurring. Baker's able to take the moment that Shida has sat up, annoyed with herself, to roll Shida back and put the lockjaw finally on. And it's the tap out from Shida into a great ovation from Daily's Place. Dr. Britt Baker is your new AEW Women's World Champion. This match, I'm giving a B to. I thought there was lots to love in this match. Felt a bit disconnected at points. I don't feel like they gelled as well as I think we all thought they would. I don't know whether there was something kind of offbeat on this night. It didn't feel like it had the energy that some of their other altercations have had. Certainly not many that Britt Baker's had with Thunder Rosa. That's kind of the measuring stick for that, you know. On the whole, though, it was a good match. It was a very good match with the right result. I think had they tried to, you know, had they tried to work it so that Shida was the face and Baker was the heel, like they did with Cody and Agogo. Had they tried really hard to push that, I think this would have fallen flat. They let the crowd just be for this one and choose a side. They knew Baker was going to be loved going into this, and they let that happen. It was the right thing to do. And well done to Britt Baker. I think she's going to make a stunning Women's World Champion. Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky are looking to shut down the return of Sting. He's teaming up with Darby Allin in our next match. Another one that starts before the bell. Big old brawl around the ring. See Sting land a dive off of the ramp. I've still got it. It never left me. The Painted Friends are in control from the start of this one. Darby eventually falling to sneaky heel shenanigans from Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. He's in there for the majority of this match, getting beaten up. He at one point gets press slammed into the front row, a la Bam Bam Bigelow to Spike Dudley, an EC dub that time. Sting has to fish him out and help him back up, like a dad helping his son get back on his bike. Darby manages to land a stunner, gets the tag to Sting. He starts clearing house, and it ends up with Sting getting the Scorpion Deathlock on Ethan Page at one point, and Darby Allin's in the ring, and Scorpio Sky grabs his leg, puts him in a leg lock. So you've got Scorpio with a leg lock on Darby Allin, you've got Sting with a deathlock on Ethan Page, and Page and Allin are just smacking each other whilst they're in these respective holds. Aubrey has to break all of this nonsense up. End comes when Sting misses a stinger splash on Scorpio Sky. He goes for a leaping stunner over the rope, but he lands perfectly into position for the Scorpion Death Drop. 1, 2, 3, Sting pins Scorpio Sky, and the Painted Friends win. Nice. Yeah, I'm going to give it a B+. Nothing too complicated here. Feel good win at the end. Nice result all round. Enjoyable little tag match. The AEW World Championship on the line next. It's Pac versus Orange Cassidy versus Kenny Omega. Omega starts cheap-shotting Orange Cassidy. Bit of techers with Pac. Once they knock each other down, Cassidy comes in and gets 2 lackadaisical near falls, saying, oh, I was this close to winning the title. Pac takes the lead with some lovely shotgun drop kicks. That is until Omega takes back control with some slow grinding offense on both. Hits that big Terminator dive to the outside as well. Pinning combo from Orange, and Kenny gets broken by a Pac 450 as well. That looked lovely. Omega is in control for a lot of this match. It's not the fastest match, but there's a genuine pace and an energy to it that I think is really, really palpable. I like how Omega slows it down and just lands those spicy knees and that big old desperation lariat when he feels it slipping away. Omega attempts an avalanche dragon suplex on Cassidy, but the pockets save the day. Cassidy putting those hands in the pockets to stop the move from getting locked in proper, allows Pac time to get up there and whoo, German suplex off the top. Away you go, Kenny lad. Pac springboards into the arms of Omega at one point. He can't quite land the one-winged angel, so he goes for a German suplex instead. Both guys eat V triggers from Omega. Omega attempts the one-winged angel once again. Pac turns it into a sunset flip. Pac rolls through it, lands an avalanche Falcon Arrow. Cassidy, as that happens, charges into the ring, hoists Pac out of the ring, and tries to get the cover. Gets a 2.99. The crowd come alive at that bit as well. We see Pac and Cassidy squaring up here. Pac responds to some of Cassidy's most devastating kicks with a big old boot to the knackers. And from there, we see Pac hit the Black Arrow. Omega breaks the count from there. Omega avoids a Black Arrow face of his own, goes for the One-Winged Angel once again. Pac turns it into a brutalizer. Here comes Cassidy to break it. Beach break on Omega for another near fall. Like, the near falls are thick and fast in this one. And every single one as you're biting the edge of your teeth. Cassidy heats up. Orange punches on both men. A second orange punch on Pac. Don Callis has wet the bed at this point. He's charged out of commentary. He pulls the referee out to stop the count, knowing that the orange punch may just seal the fate for the champ. Pac puts the brutalizer on Cassidy from here. Omega can't break the move because Pac's got the brutalizer in on Cassidy. He's stomping on Pac's head, and he's like, "How here, man? Come at you! I'll bite your leg off if you do that again." That's exactly what he says. So Omega just hits the ref instead. That stops everything going down, doesn't it? That's an easy way to fix it. Because he can't break the move, he just attacks the ref. From here, with the referee down, he just proceeds to clobber Pac with each of his title belts. All 4 belts get a little bit of a shine off the head of Pac. We see Cassidy spring to life once again with another orange punch. Aubrey runs down. It looks like that Cassidy is going to pin Omega for this. He gets a 2 because Omega's able to roll it into a crucifix pin. 1, 2, 3. Suddenly, Omega has eked out a win and is leaving with the championship. Whew. A+. This was A+. An excellent championship match that just twisted and turned all the way through. Loved every moment of this. This was a solid match. I think should have gone on last, in my opinion. We find out next that Mark Henry is All Elite. Here he comes, looking brilliant. He's going to be the new colour analyst for AEW Rampage, and he's going to be a coach as well. We know he means it this time. Why? Because he's not wearing a salmon jacket. He's wearing a non-salmon jacket. That means he's telling the truth. Main event o'clock, and it's the Stadium Stampede match. It's the Inner Circle versus the Pinnacle. MJF arrives in a limo and he's gassing about how he's going to beat everybody up. The Inner Circle rappel from the top of the stadium like spiders entering your house during the summer. The Pinnacle turn up in a truck. We get underway from there. Jericho chases MJF into Daly's place. A big part of this match is focused on Jericho and MJF. It's sort of swapping between aggressive violence behind the scenes and some slapstick stuff as well. Urban Meyer and Charlie Strong cameo gets a massive pop from Daly's place. That's a nice reaction, nice little local nod there. As they're fighting all over the place, we see Wardlow and Jake Hager. They're having a hoss battle in the walk-in freezer. They end up going through a wall at one point. Shawn Spears and Sammy Guevara battle in a room filled with folding chairs. So, there's a bit. There's so many bits here that I want to leave Ross to talk about. Shawn Spears looks like he's about to start singing something from Chicago at the very beginning of this. I'll let Ross do more of that. Shawn handcuffs Sammy to some steel shelving and leaves him there. Santana and Ortiz meet up with FTR. They're in a bar portion of Daly's place, and they knock back some vodka and they start fighting. And we notice that on the DJ set in this bar is Conan. Hey, nice to see you, Conan. They end up clattering each other with weapons whilst hip-hop and R&B music, hip-hop music plays. I don't sound very hip-hop at all. Hip-hop music plays. It's a little nod to New Jack, which I think's lovely. So they're scrapping through the discotheque, basically. Wardlow and Hager fight out on the top of a truck. MJF and Jericho then fight in the boardroom, where MJF gets thrown through a glass window. Shawn Spears gets chased by the Inner Circle Motorcycle Club. We see Jericho and MJF make their way into the arena itself, and they're fighting right up in the cheap seats. Sammy Guevara returns. This time he is driving the golf club. He's not the one being hit by the golf club. He's driving it. We end up with Shawn Spears and Sammy Guevara going back and forth in the ring, and it looks like Shawn Spears is going to try and put away Sammy Guevara, but Guevara fires back. He lands a GTH on Shawn Spears, drives Shawn Spears' head into a chair with a stomp, then hits a 630 for the 1-2-3. Guevara, in the centre of the ring, has saved the Inner Circle. And it felt very sudden and very out of nowhere. You kind of thought, well, were we not going to see Jericho and MJF getting amongst it? for, since they're the reason why all this is happening, but no, I mean, Sammy Guevara being, a member of the Inner Circle that lost his way for so long, it kind of, when you think about it, makes sense that he's the one that's involved in the victory at the end. So the more I thought about it, the more it kind of made sense. I'm going to give it a B+ for this one. Sammy Guevara saving the Inner Circle, as I say, makes sense as a redemption storyline. So that final stretch with them was great with Shawn Spears and Sammy Guevara. The other stuff veered from serious brawl to comedy. Felt a little less bloated than the first one, but I think the first one was just a little bit better. This one hits a little bit different though, and I think it worked really well. Should it have been the main event? Well, if you wanted to get everybody singing Judas at the end, then I guess it had to be, didn't it? Overall, I'm giving AEW Double or Nothing 2021 a B+. World title match, tag title match, opening match, excellent. Absolutely excellent. Some really good stuff in there with Britt Baker winning the title, Stadium Stampede as a whole, Jungle Boy's big win as well. Cody and Agogo maybe couldn't live up to the hype. Probably the lowest point of the night, to be honest with you. A few dips, but lots of things to celebrate from AEW's first proper pay-per-view back in front of proper fans. Let me know what you thought of it in the comments down there. We'll all have different opinions. That's the spice of life, innit? Stay safe. Love you, bye.